know her here in Perth. Most people in the wellness space know her. Her name is Rachel Dowdy. She's one of my besties in the whole world. I adore her. And she's probably my go-to person for getting my head right. And Rach is the owner of Green Goodness Co, which is the largest online wellness platform in Australia. And what they do is they support wellness businesses. And she also owns a small social media house called Social Goodness. And today I wanted to bring her here. I asked all our leaders if she was the right person, and everybody agreed. Rachel has had one of the most incredible lives ever. And she is a no excuses, she's all grit, and she holds vision so close in her heart every single day, and she lives and breathes wellness. Now, she came from a sales and marketing background, like I did, and that's probably why we have the same language, because we're like, come on. And I don't know, some people love sales, and some people hate it, but I love it. Like, I love it. And Rachel does too. So what we're going to do today is hear from this amazing human. And she's going to share with us her journey around how she got to where she is and how much it took. But where she came from, I think, is the most important part of what she's going to share today. So without further ado, my bestie, Rachel. She's a walker. I've told her she has to stand in space.
Yeah. This so much? Excellent. This guy's my little three-year-old. Between you. Hi, everyone. Hi. Cool. Thanks for having me today. This is super exciting. When Matt was like, do you want to speak at our conference? I was like, sure. I don't even think about it. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to a conference. Am I ready? What am I going to talk about? She was like, have you got vision? I was like, I've got a big vision. I can do that. I know you guys have all got your notebooks and everything, but can I ask you to stand up? I know, this is really like, we're going to get you moving. Okay, so has anyone done Kundalini yoga or what they call like breath of fire? Yes? So it's like you're grabbing your vision and you're pulling it in. Okay, like let's just have a little arms out and then bring it in. Yeah. Yeah, okay, now we're going to bring the, just warming up. And now we're going to add the breath in. Through the nose. Now close your eyes down when you're comfortable with that. Now I want you to think about what your vision is. Keep going. Don't be lazy. Come on everyone, you've been sitting all day. Okay, now I want you to, as you've got your eyes closed, I want you to think about your vision and then you're opening your hands up and you're pulling it in. And you're pulling it into yourself. So close your eyes. I want everyone to stand here for a couple of minutes and really think about what your vision is. Okay, now stand there, keep your arms down, close your eyes. And I just want you to settle in, shut out the world around you, keep your eyes closed, drop your hands down. And just like everything that's happened today, everything that's got you here, I just want you to take a minute to really let your bodies all activated, just open your heart, and I really want you to feel what is your vision, what is the truest, most beautiful vision that is sitting on your heart right now, for yourself, for your family, for your team. Like really, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Okay, now take a seat. Got me all like tingly. Anyone else? Yeah. Cool. Anyone else going to do this for 45 minutes and come and share what their vision was? No? Okay. Maybe not. Cool. Look, Nat's asked me to share my story, and it's really important that you know your vision. And obviously they keep coming back to that, but I just wanted to start with that, just to get you into your heart, because I'm going to share a part of mine with you. And I probably will get emotional because I get emotional at most things.
I'm a cry. Is there any tissues?
Oh, this is what but yeah, okay, so look, everyone's got a story. Every single person here has got a story, has got a past and a reason for being here. And for me, I just wanted to share a little bit about my story. And the thing is, with a story, it's you either, it's how you think about your story, and it's either if you're a, if it's an empowering story, you're going to live an empowered life, and a disempowered story, you're going to live a disempowered life. So, it's really important to the meaning that we give things, and it doesn't matter what's happened in the past. It's how we choose to keep going forward in our life. So when I was younger, my parents broke up as, probably 60% of the world has. And yeah, so my parents went their separate ways. My mum, unfortunately, chose a man who didn't, have the best intentions and, used to drink a lot and was quite abusive. So I grew up in domestic violence from probably 6 to 16. And to the point where I got my first job and I went to my first day and I'd had all my teeth hit into my mouth and, it was probably one of those days that I was like, that's enough. I'd watched my mum get, beaten a lot, and that had happened to me. And it was interesting, like the stories that you tell yourself and all of that sort of thing. And it was just a really disempowering childhood, and I didn't want to be around, and I, was not the person that I am today. But why I wanted to share that is that I moved out at 16, and I said to my mum, you might want to, deal with that, but I don't. And so I moved out and I started my life on my own. And, and I've met some amazing people along the way. Unfortunately, I met some bad people. So I had a home that was like not so supportive. And then I found some new friends who were into drugs. And I was like, oh, this is the perfect thing to really get some revenge back on my parents. So I had a lot of fun with that. And I was like, no, that's actually not fun. It wasn't who I was. And it's like, it's a really ugly world, when you are seeking validation with the wrong people, through the wrong ways. And I don't know, like this voice, I just remember going, you're meant to do more in your life. And I sat in this house just with, not the most amazing people. And I got up and I left and I never went back. And I've never been back to where I grew up. And I met a lady within about 2 weeks of me leaving. And she did nutrimetics. Did anyone used to go to like the strippers, the male strippers in Charles Street? How good was that? I was like, this woman was like, have you ever been? I was like, no. And she's like, yeah, let's go to the strippers. And this lady, she was gorgeous, blonde hair, like really pretty. And she was like selling raffle tickets to this big nutrimetics basket. And I was like, oh, wow, that's nice. And she was a salesperson. She was good. So she got my details and rang me up during the week. And she goes, hi, you put your number in and you didn't win. No, she made me win. So she got to talk to me. And she was like, oh my God, you'd be amazing. I was like, really amazing at what? And she was like, oh my God, I need to talk to you about the business. I was like, oh, there's a business. This is cool. I was a receptionist. A director of first impressions. So I went, yeah, because LJ was cross. That sounds like such a great job. But anyway, so this lady, this nutrimetics consultant, she was like, so what are your goals? Like, what do you want to achieve in your life? And I just was like, I've never heard. No one had ever asked me that question in my life. 17 years old. Not one person had ever asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And had never set a goal, had never had any like thing. But I was like, oh wow, like there was this, I don't know, this intuition, there's this real that goes on in your life. And like that day that I was sitting in that room and I was like, that's not where I want to be. I expect more, like, you know, I wanted more from myself. I was like, that's that vision. That's, you know, like you do have a vision for yourself. And there's so many people out there that, oh, I don't really know what I want to be doing. And, you know, they just confuse themselves. But it's like, we do know what we want. We really do. And yeah, so it was such an amazing thing. So she's like, she brings me along to this nutrimentic thing in Vic Park. And I was like in love with everything. Like so many positive people. There was like successful people. There was like, you know, people like that and Tamara, like everywhere. I was just like, this is so good. Like I needed, and honestly, that just inspired like a whole new like world to me. And I still, you know, message that lady now. She's still a friend. And I'm just like, you changed my life. You have no idea. I like literally didn't even know that I could shape what I wanted in my life. And I was like, I had a visual diary and I like used to cut out pictures. And I'm like, this stuff's coming true. This is like really happening. And I was like, oh my God, manifesting. And I just been on this journey of like learning all this stuff. And I was like, it's the most amazing thing. And I was like, look, I did end up doing very well at nutrimentic. I think I've still got a couple of things under the roadway. But I'm like, that cost me $70. Oil. Don't throw the oil away. I should have used it when I was pregnant, shouldn't I? Anyway. So yeah, from then, you know, like I did start setting goals and I ended up, you know, starting in my reception job in real estate. And then I was like, oh, one day I would love to sell real estate. And I saw these amazing women in their power suits and I was like, that's going to be me in that fancy car. And, you know, like I just like really like started to play with having a vision and having goals and really setting some things out for myself. So, you know, within a few years, I was like, you know, achieved all these things, had gone to Europe, had done all this. Like my visual diaries, I still sit there on the floor and like read them all and like all the income, and I've still got all of those things from my nutrimentic days, and I'm just like all these things that I was trying to do, and like, yeah, it was like, it's such an amazing journey to like go, that's a part of me, and that's a part of who I am, and it's made me who I am, and I'm so grateful for that, and so grateful for the real estate, all the admin stuff, and you know, supporting all these salespeople. And then I ended up like running a sales team for Rewa, and because I knew real estate so well, so my job was actually selling to all the real estate agents, which was perfect. So, you know, and then yeah, it was funny. So anyway, what happened next? So I met a guy. Yeah, you reckon it went well? Anyway, no, well, you know, I met a few, let's be honest. I'm travelling, stayed there, and that didn't work out. But no, I met a guy here in Perth who was like very wealthy. He was like, quit your job and you can do anything you want. And at that time I was like, you know, going, oh my God, what do I think I'm going to be a yogi. Like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go to India and do my yoga teacher training, and maybe I'll just do some like casual yoga classes, you know, have like a retreat business, I don't know, something glamorous and amazing in health and wellness. And I was like, you know, that really helped me, you know, stay away from the bad people and drugs and alcohol, all that sort of stuff. And I was like, you know, that's wholesome. That's the life that I want to create. So off I went to India and like did, you know, 200 hours in 21 days. And I was like, okay, I could be a yoga teacher. And I had no idea of how to teach a yoga class at all, but it was good for my own practice, self-practice. But yeah, so anyway, after I went to do that, I was like, it's not what I wanted to do. Don't know. Things didn't work out with that guy. We're still friends, it's okay. And yeah, so I was like, I come back to Perth and I was like, what am I going to do? So, you know, going with the juice theme, you know, I started a juice business, Green Goodness Code. And I was like, oh my God, this is huge all around the world. People need to get their nutrients, cold pressing and all this stuff. I was like, this is going to be amazing, groundbreaking, like huge in New York, as if Perkins are going to love it. But already there was a couple of little businesses here and I was like, I hated being in a kitchen. Like seriously, I don't cook. So why would I want to do? I was like shopping for like oh my God, my whole car was full of fruit and veg, going to the markets, doing all this stuff. And I was like, what am I doing? This is not me. So I was like, anyway, like, let's just like let that one go. Like, what next? And so I sat there like literally crying in a cafe. Look at you, Mum. It is funny now. But yeah, and I was like, well, what is it that I actually want to do, you know? Because every time I think of a business, I like have this massive vision for it and be like, I want it to be the best juice company, and then we're going to do these bright things, and we're going to transform people, and we're going to be national, and it's just going to be amazing. And then and I'm like, oh, so it's 3. I'm like, oh man, like I need 3 million. Like, what are we doing? Talk to the marketing department. That was me. Sales department. That was me. Accounts. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what 0. You guys don't have to deal with half of these problems. So yeah, feel blessed. So yeah, so then, sitting crying in the cafe, and I was like, and then the old CEO, they'd just spent, you know, $1.8 million creating a new website for Reaver, and they're like, we need you to sell some advertising. And I was like, why am I so good at doing that? You know, like going into the boardrooms, chatting to all these people, you know, telling them about all the numbers and the stats, and like, you know, selling all this advertising. And I was like, isn't that funny? And I was like, yeah, anyway, but I want to be in health and wellness. And I was like, oh, I've got it. I've done so many retreats, you know, down at Samudra. Did anyone go to Samudra? Yeah, how cool was it? Loved it. And it's like all these little events that pop up, and you know, and I was like, nobody, like, how do you find out about events in Perth? It's like, oh, you've got to be told about this one, and da-da-da, and I was like, and then it was like, there was all the, you know, raw people at that stage, and everyone was like, no, you've got to eat raw, and then you've got the paleo people, and they're like, no, you need to eat meat, and do this and do that, and I was like, that'd be good if you could have one platform where people could find all the events everyone's hosting in one place. And what if we could get on all of these experts in all of those fields to talk about all of those things? And I was like, it's just like there's a car sales, there's a realestate.com. I was like, there's nothing for health and wellness. I said, that's what I'm going to create. And I'm like, apart from like, I don't have like millions of dollars. And I was like, what else? Like, where would you even start? And I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I've so got this. If someone else has done this before, like John McGrath, he started realestate.com. What do you think about building a media platform? Pretty good salesman. So he got investors on and whatever else. So anyway, I started with what I did, and I created a website, and I had a directory, and I put on thousands of local businesses, every yoga studio, every, you know, fitness company, all the healthy cafes. I like spent months researching every healthy hotspot in Perth, what everyone was up to, telling everyone to get their events online, and creating this thing. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, it's so much work. So I ended up getting an investor on board and doing all that. And it was like, you know, to get that to go national and to get it where it is today, you have no idea how much hard work that it's taken. But I had a vision, and it's just about being really, you know, driven to get to that. But I've got lots of tips to go through. But what I wanted to talk about is, you know, you've got your story and you've got what you're trying to achieve, your vision. And so there's a few things that I wanted to go through today. But more importantly, it's like, you know, when you've got your vision, you've got to get shareholders on board as a company, you know. And for me, that was an investor, and that was staff. And it's no different to your business. It is no different to what you guys are doing. So you've constantly got to be tapped into what your vision is and being able to articulate that again and again, and really believe it, really feel it, really know, and be in alignment with that every single day. And not every day is easy. Like, there's some days, and that's my go-to, of like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I've had, you know, like the best days. Like, I even had, you know, some of the biggest moments of my business, I'm like having panic attacks, like literally panic attacks. And I'm like, this is good, this is happening. And I'm still like struggling, breathing in it and dealing with that in every single moment. And it's like, I think sometimes the closer you are to achieving things, the harder it gets before, you know? It's always darkest before the dawn, and it's like, is that even yeah, so, you know, and there's things that are going to get you towards your goals and your vision, and there's things that are going to take you away from it. So I think what I just wanted to sort of like, you know, really go through with you. I don't really know what you wanted me to talk about that, but I hope this is okay. She's like, never inviting her again. But yeah, so as your vision, like, and that's the thing, like vision and legacy, they're very sort of tied to each other. You know, if you don't have your vision, then you don't know what your legacy is going to be, what you're going to, you know, what you want to leave. And it's like, and it's the same about like your goals. You can't know what you need to be doing on the daily if you don't know what your vision is. And even like I was working, like this is the thing, like it's constant like re-tapping back in, going back to basics. Like who here has had to reinvent their business? Like a million times. Yeah? Like, and sometimes you're just like, I don't know if I've got it in me. Yeah, does anyone feel that? But it's like those times when you're like, I can't keep going, and then you dig deep, and it's like they're the moments that you need to get to, because you honestly need, like what they say, what's that saying? Rock bottom's going to teach you things that, you know, the hearts of never will. And it's so true. Like it's always those moments that you have to stop and question everything and like let everything like just go to rebuild, to be able to get that fire in your belly again, because it becomes like, instead of like you're inspired by what you're doing, it just becomes a chore, right? And it's like, oh, I've got to do this, oh, I've got this event happening, oh my God, I've got to bring these people and do this instead of, and when you're really tapped into your vision and you're like, I am doing this, we are getting people together, this is what they're going to feel, and you know, it's such a different story. It's either empowered or disempowered, and when you're like so busy, it's so easy to disconnect from that vision and be like this massive like to-do list, and it's like that's actually like the hardest part, is to keep stopping to go there, to be going, how lucky am I to be able to create this? How blessed am I to be going after my vision? Because there's so many people out there that are too scared to go for their vision, and you guys are all here, all living it. You. But honestly, I'm not making someone laugh. But yeah, like, honestly, it's like, and what else did I have for you? I wrote notes. This is the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. Okay, am I good here? And now dancing. Okay, no, we won't do that. Okay, so know your vision, and like, don't give up. Who said that? Was that Naomi? Who said don't give up on the bad days? Emma, yeah. I was like, I love that. I was like, oh, yeah. I wish somebody had told me that before. Just sleep on it. But if you are in business and you think you're not going to have bad days and not going to give up, like seriously, I feel like I've got bipolar, because I'm like literally in the same day. And I'm not mocking like mental health, because I've had my fair share of feelings with that. But it's like, honestly, like in a day, maybe even an hour, it's like weddings, and it's like, oh, it's it's like dealing with my toddler, second weekend of school holidays, and it's like, oh, just meltdowns. I'm like, oh my God, is this overtired? Thank God it's not like that anymore. But like, yeah, and that's the thing. So, like, don't give up, because that's what success is about. And my investor has said to me so many times, he's like, resilience, grit, and persistence is the only thing that sets apart someone who's successful and someone who's not. And the thing that I like really shifted my mind Do that yourself. So when I was with this really wealthy guy, and we were like, after my yoga teacher training, I needed some luxury. Let me tell you. So we're in the south of France. And I'm just joking. And there was like a whole group of people in a part of this car club. And I met so many amazing people, like the guy that owns like here and his wife, and there was just like these really wealthy people, and they had very successful businesses. And I was like, oh my God, like, you know, wait till Carl start crying. Please don't ask me, lucky they're not from Perth, they'd judge me. But anyway, but anyway, I was like hanging out with these people and I was like chatting to them, and I was like, there is nothing special about these people. Like, there was like literally, and I was like, and I had this epiphany in that moment that I was just like, they're just the same as me. Like, they had the same sense of humour, like we were eating the same food, like everything was the same. And I was like, it was in that moment that I literally shifted my, I reckon it, like, is it self-esteem, like, I don't know, where I like picture myself, someone is better articulating this stuff than me. It's subtitles. But it was just this realisation that I was actually, there was nothing better about them than me. And it was in that moment that I was like, I can start my own business. I can do that. I don't need to work for somebody else. I don't need to, you know, be putting myself down and thinking because that's happened, or because I didn't go to uni, because that didn't happen, you know, and then I got to create who I was. And I was like, these people just, excuse the language, had the balls to do it. And I was like, I've got that. And so I think that was this really pivotal moment for me in my whole life, that I was like, when I did get back to Perth, and I was like, what am I going to do? And it was like, I'm not attached to failure. I'm just like, I don't give up. And if something's not working, I'm chanting. I might hear all about it. But it's like, dust off, you know, dust yourself off and go again. Try something else. Maybe that event isn't working anymore. Maybe one element was, maybe one element wasn't. Let's throw the baby out with the bathwater, what is that saying? And it's like, you know, so good at these, and I write this down, make a book. It's going to be big on Amazon. I should even come to Australia. Anyway, so yes, don't give up. Surround yourself with people, and that's the thing. Like, I got to a point in my business where I was like, you know, Bring Disco was doing really well. I was doing a lot of events. The business community was going really well, and I felt like I created this like story in my head that I couldn't show any weakness, and that I was struggling with things, but I didn't know who to ask or what I was doing, and I was just like, I don't know, like, I don't know what it is or what it was. I was just like, I don't know, I just wanted to protect myself. I wanted everyone to, you know, think that I had it together. That's what it was. And I was like, one day, and it was, I met Nat, and I was like, oh my God, she's amazing, and I was like, I'm actually going to drop my guard and be vulnerable. And I had no idea, and like, I just cried all the time. So I'm sure there was plenty of crying, and it was just really nice to just drop that facade of like, no, I'm doing it, everything's good, you got this, you know, all of that. It's like, yeah, that's good, but like, let's be real with each other as well and go, this sucks. This is really hard. Can you be there for me? Just let me vent, or whatever it is, like someone to celebrate you, someone to be there for you. Like, this is a journey. And so, yeah, I feel like, you know, to be surrounded by people who you can trust, that, you know, have got you. They might think you're a little weird, you know, but like, you can be yourself. You can tell them what you're going through, and just be really vulnerable. That's how you're going to get the help. That's how you're going to break through whatever you're going through, is actually just by asking for help and being real. And I think that's the thing, like when you've got teams and when you've got this, it's like, you know, fake it till you make it and things like that. And yeah, I believe in that. Like, you know, but as well, be human. Hey, Carla. It's self-belief. So what do you need to be doing for yourself? What do you do that pulls you down? Like, you know your things that drag your confidence down. Is it toxic people? Is it toxic relationships? Is it toxic food? Is it a lifestyle choice? What is it? You've got something. Everyone's got something that is making them, that after they do it, they go, yeah, their confidence isn't there. Because I've got mine, and I know that you would have yours. So I know what pulls me towards tapping into my vision and having 100% self-belief, and I've got things that take me away. And, you know, and it is those daily rituals and what we're doing every day to be the best person that we can be. Is doing, you know, your meditation, doing your exercise, doing all that stuff that makes you feel really confident in yourself. And it is also doing that work mentally. Because if you're doing half of it, but not all of it, like, you know you can do more. And yeah, like I said before, like, learn how to articulate it and feel your vision. You know, so the more you can tap into it, you know, like that, when we really felt that, you know, even if it's something so simple like that to start every morning, you know, just take 2 minutes just to go, like, I do a lot of my visioning in the shower because you're in there. Not like that. Well, sometimes like that. Usually my 4-year-old's in there, so, you know. No, just kidding. So yeah, it's about articulating it. And like, the thing is, like, I'm sure most of you in this room are in this room because you're good at like articulating your vision. But one thing that when I met Nat, she was just so good at just going, this is my vision. And she articulated it so well. And then I was like, wow. And I constantly check in with myself. And even this week, I went through my branding for Green Goodness Code. And I was like, I'm going to rewrite my values. And my values still the same, which is empowering, which was adventure, because I believe like life is one big adventure. And I don't, you know, like, I don't want it to be boring. That's not who I am. So like, that's a big, you know, value of ours. A big value of what I do is empowering people, because you've got everything that you need, every single one of you right now. And that took me so many years to actually realise that. This is for you. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I've spent thousands of dollars on holidays, retreats and therapists and like, all of that stuff just to be like, I get it. But then every day I'm like, do I get it? I've got amnesia. It's so funny how you like have these breakthroughs and you're like, yes, I'm going to be like fixed forever. And 6 months later you're like, I forgot that. Like, you know, I forget that. That was one of the best learnings I've ever had. And that's the thing, like, I'm doing a course at the moment and it's like a 10-day, you know, like mindset challenge. And I'm like, oh, you know, I've done all this, you know. But like, every time, every video, I'm like, oh, that's so good. That is so good. Like, you've heard it, you know it, but are you embodying it? Because you forget it, don't you? It's like, you know, so you've got to just keep embodying it, you've got to keep living it. And I'm sorry, like, if I'm doing it, then I'm like, well, how many other people are out there that keep forgetting the things that have made them amazing in the past? You know, so you've got to keep going in. Like, even like little things like you have, you know, your the life wheel. Okay, charades. So it's like, where are you, like, you know, doing that every 3 months, because how much does your life change every couple of months? So you need to keep checking in and going, where am I going? Like, you know, like spirituality's like jumped off the bandwagon because you're like so focused and, you know, trying to do something. So it's like, you know, just having your little routines and going, well, that's your vision. So like, use the tools, like keep using them. And the things that are going to take you away from your vision is comparison. Yeah? Give me a yeah. Like, social media is amazing for so many things, but honestly, like, for most of us, it's like, oh. Look how amazing they're doing, oh my God. Like, and it is like, my baby daddy, he used to be like, can you not go on and look at that? Do it when you're in a good place. And I'm like, it's actually really good advice. But yeah, like, you do need to be really like in your, like, not emotional, more logical, like stalking mode, to be like really seeing what other people are doing. And the thing is, it's like there's comparison and there's market research, there's stalking, you know, there's a whole plethora of reasons why we are looking and doing these types of things. So it's like, you know, when you're on there, like I find it, like I love to come up with new ideas and new concepts and things like that. And I get inspired by things that I see all over the place. And social media is like such a great place to be inspired, but it's also so disempowering. It is like horrible some days, and you're just like, this is like the worst thing I should have done. Put the phone down, do something for myself. So yeah, like just realise that like that is the highlight reel, and just to know how to come back to yourself and go like, you've got to run your own race, you know. And the more, like when I first started, I was like, I don't want my face to be a part of this, Like if people knew how much alcohol, or I used to smoke cigarettes, like I can't be in the health and wellness, and you know, I'm going to be judged, and like I was not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. I couldn't, you know, like there was not one part of me that just wanted to be like seen, you know, for doing all of that. And so it was like, now I'm like, I don't care. I'm your average girl who, you know, will binge on a Friday night and, you know, and then be all healthy during the week. And it's like this sort of thing. I'm giving up drinking. So you'll be glad to know that won't happen anymore. But like, and that's the thing. It's like, know what's going to empower you. Know what gives you confidence. Like that doesn't give me confidence. And I need all the confidence I can get because I've got a massive vision. And I'm like literally not going to be like, I'm sabotaging myself through that. So I'm like, oh, it's like this tiny little thing, but it's still like, not doing it. So, you know, as far as like comparison, definitely go to social media, definitely like, you know, be inspired by what people are doing. Different industries, you know, different, you know, whatever, where you want to get your inspiration from. But just know what comparison's doing, catch it, just keep catching it in yourself. And, oh yeah, the story about that. So that's what I was trying to say, is that I'm like now comfortable in who I am. And I'm like, cool, I like to think that I'm funny, you know, I'm very vulnerable, I'm very open, and I'm probably not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm like, have really good intentions, and I love people, and I want to give as much as I can. So I go, you know what, that's enough for me. And if like people don't like that, that's okay. And I'm like, finally, 40 years old, comfortable and knowing who I am. But, you know, and that's the thing about comparison. It still happens, and you're still going to go, you know what, but they don't have what I've got, and just shut it down and move on. But just know that that happens and try to catch yourselves. Yeah, shiny object is like a big one. Anyone suffer from shiny object? Yeah. I think it's another form of self-sabotage. Don't know. What do you think? Yeah? It is. That's what I think. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's great. And I do it at the best times when I'm like, I know that I'm about to do all these amazing things. I'm like, oh, what else could I do? It's like, just step in, lean in, girlfriend. Like, you've got this. It's like, it's such an interesting thing to watch and catch yourself. You're avoiding doing the things that's like, you know, you can create this stuff, you can create it, but then like it is about making it happen, doing the grind, making the calls, doing the work, you know, and that's like a really important part. And I think that this shiny object syndrome is like, yeah, it's avoidance. It is a form of self-sabotage, I think. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to sort of, you know, go out and do different things, but when you're thinking about your vision, is that going to take you towards or away from? That's all you have to continue to think. And so like literally, if you could put your vision in 1 or 2 sentences, write it on your, you know, bathroom window, in your car, whatever, on your screen, whatever you need to do to get that out there, and everything that comes up every day, like even whatever emotions coming up, whatever like people are in your life, whatever, like everything needs to filter through that. And just go, is that taking me towards or away from your vision? That was okay. Great.
So one of the things that Rachel has done is she's opened up a social media house called Social Goodness, and she's going to do a special event for us. And this event, she can only take 20, and if we get 20, we may do another one. Yes, I'm just saying we are. Yeah. I'm not doing it, I'm just saying she is. But it's actually a social media, it's like a one-day boot, branding boot camp. And I just want you to talk to that for 2 minutes, right?
Yeah. So the branding boot camp, so I got a bit sick of talking about social media, sorry. So I created two events, and one of them I said to Nat, can you come and speak? Because everyone, like, social media is so important to business, but I felt like there is so much emphasis on it that I'm like, we're forgetting what business is about. People, connections. And it's like, that's what grows your business. Knowing people, connecting with people. And that is what is going to change your business, because I feel like so many people that I deal with sit behind their computers and go, I do this, wait for the people, you know, and it's like, yeah, you sort of forget that old school, like what it is about. And the whole point is that, like, we all crave community. We all crave to connect to other humans. Like, I go to a Muay Thai gym, and like, that's like my little community. And I'm like, never would I have imagined that. But I'm like, I work by myself. I go to the baristas are my best friends. So I'm like, yeah. So there you go. And branding group camp. Sorry, yes.
So just with Rachel jumps ahead, she's got ADD. The event that she's got is just an open event, and she can have tons of numbers for that. It's called Antisocial. And it's on her, if you go on to Social Goodness or Green Goodness Code, like those pages, you'll see that event advertised. I'm one of the speakers, and I'm talking about how to create a ripple effect around the world with community. And I would love you guys there just to support me, because I'm really nervous. Like, this is a totally different demographic. I didn't stay with you guys for a long time, right? Yeah. Yeah. So there's that event, and then this is the special event that Rachel's putting on is the branding boot camp.
So the branding boot camp, basically, we've got a photographer, because what I was like, okay, where are people struggling in their business? When you're a small business, it's like you can't afford to have a photographer, and you know, and to know how to create amazing content on that. So what I wanted to do is have we've got the most incredible event space down at Feld and Co. Does anyone know Feld? On Instagram, it's like the most Instagrammable pretty place. So we've got that, and there's going to be a photographer there, so you come all planned up, ready to go. You can have a mini shoot, and you will walk away with like photos like this. So you'll walk away with 3 high-res images. I've got the most incredible photographer. She is doing a smartphone workshop. So not only is she going to teach us like how to use the settings, how to be creative instead of just point and shoot at everything. It's like how to get the angles and how to do flat lays. And she does a lot of social media stuff as well. So she teaches you, you know, how to do flat lays and basically just all of that, and how to use your images on social media. So that's a 3-hour workshop. So that's a part of the boot camp. So the boot camp goes from 8 till 2. And yeah, so you've got a mini photo shoot, you've got a 3-hour workshop on that. And then there's a lady who's like a gorgeous makeup artist. So she's going to be teaching us how to do your makeup based on what your brand is. So the first thing of the day is I will sit down and go through what your brand is, and we're going to get really clear on what those brand elements are. So the look and feel, your tone of voice, who your target audience is, and all of that sort of thing, which I just think you can never, it's one of those things that you can never hear enough, because, you know, you go, yes, but this is the audience, this is who we're talking to, and then 5 minutes later you're posting up something about something completely irrelevant. So I think, like, let's, you know, just hone in on what the brand is for an hour. We've got, sorry, wrapping up, and then the photographer, so that's the workshop. So basically you're going to walk in, get your photo shoot, walk away with your images, and walk away knowing how to create amazing content.
Yeah. So that's, if you add all that up, it's over $1,000. with all of that. If you're going to go do that with startup business, Rachel's doing it for us, which is 77 ahead, right? So the only way to buy a ticket to that is go to Social Goodness. The second post is Branding Bootcamp. There's a link under there. There's also a link in the bio, and first 20 in. If she sells out, she'll let me know, and then we will hold another one.
So that's on Friday the 28th. So in 2 Fridays' time.
Yes, in 2 Friday time. Two Fridays time. Okay. So that's going to be amazing. I tell you what, every time I hire a photographer to get my makeup and my hair done and everything else, it costs me $400, and this is $270.
It'll be fun.
So that's what
I
I'm
promise.
saying.
And food's all included. So we've got catering from Hail to Pale. So there's kombucha, like either a vegan bowl or everything. So you get nourished for the day as well.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thanks for laughing at my jokes.